Hello, race fans. We're coming to you with another Zwift Duathlon League race. This is race number 3 of 6, another 35-minute bike and 15-minute run. I did something a little different for the start of this race, for this bike race. I logged in early and got on the grid early to get myself in the front of the pack for the start. Normally, I'd be somewhere in the middle of the pack, towards the back of the pack, and kind of be trying to work my way through a lot of people. But this time, I'm going to let the fast guys blow by me because I know I'm not going to go out as hard or as fast as them. And then that's me sitting out front in my favorite race colors, black, red, and white. And like I said, I wanted to change my kit for this race so that I can recognize myself a little bit more. So with that being said, let's get this party started. Okay, you might have noticed that my wattage is a lot higher than it was in my first two races, at around about 300 watts. That's because I had a new strategy for this bike ride. I wanted to try and keep my watts per kilogram at about 4 watts or higher. I knew this was going to be hard for me and that it was going to be a test to see if I can do this for 35 minutes. I've never been able to do this. My watts per kilogram average is normally somewhere around 3.5. That has been my best so far. So this was going to be a big test for me to see if I can get this done. For a while, I was doing okay. I'd say for about the first 5 minutes, I was able to hold it somewhere around 4. Just slightly dipped under it a little bit, but for the most part, I kept it right about at 4. But then my legs started burning, my quads were just on fire, and I got to a point where I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I had to back off. I was a little disappointed about that, but I still wanted to try and see how far I can get with at least a high 3 watts per kilogram average. It did feel good to be mixing it up with some of the faster guys up front and to actually see on average 250 to 300 something watts on the board rather than it being 200 to 250 watts. So I felt good. I felt good about that. But I knew that it wasn't gonna last long because of the way my legs felt. So I just wanted to hold out as long as I could until I knew I had to drop off that pace and just let guys go by me. So I'm going to speed the video up and get us towards the end of the ride, and then we'll see how I'm getting along at that point. As you can tell, I dropped from being in the top 50 back into around 61st position. And for most of the latter part of the ride, I'm going to say even half of the ride, I was out there by myself. No one really to key off of or anything like that. So I just tried to stay strong and keep it going and make my way to the finish of this bike ride. One thing I forgot to do at the start of this race was to do some hard effort warm up. I did some spinning, but forgot to do the hard effort warm up. I think that's probably a detriment to me because I noticed that towards the end of the race, I have a little bit more power, a little bit more strength in my legs to push a little bit harder. So I have to fix that. I was just a hair slower on this ride than I was last week, but I'm actually excited about that because of the couple of elevation changes that I had to power through. I actually got through those much better than I thought I would have. I held my power pretty good on those. So that's exciting. So you can see that in the graph here, my Training Peaks graph of my course route. And with that being said, we will move on over to the run. Okay, I screwed up on this one. I forgot to record the run. I realized about halfway through the run that I forgot to press those keys to start the record. And I was running much faster than I did in my other two races. So my heart rate was up there, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get my fingers up there to the keyboard to hit the correct keys to get the run to start without throwing my stride off and maybe crashing off the treadmill or something like that. So I decided to just let it go and just finish out the run. And this was actually a good run. I got off the line much faster than I did in my other two races, and I was probably in the top 10 very early in the race and actually ran my way up to third place in the standings. So I was actually running hard in this one. My heart rate actually went into the red with a whole kilometer left to run. So, but I wasn't going to slow down. I wasn't going to stop. I had a guy to chase down to get myself into third place, and I was able to get in third, and I was happy about that. The guy that was in first was gone. I never even saw him. So that guy in first and second, and also the guy in second were running really fast, and I never saw them. But I way up to third, and I was happy about that. So, seeing as I screwed up by not recording my run, I decided to give you some bonus footage of a 5K run that I did about 2 hours after this duathlon. Yes, I'm that much of an overachiever. I totally intended on taking it easy during this run, but you'll see that it never works for me trying to say that I'm going to take it easy. Enjoy. After these two runners passed me, I probably should have backed down off my pace. And because they were running crazy fast times, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep up with them. Once they got close to a 3 minute pace, I was like, no, that's definitely not for me. So that was probably the smartest thing I did. I should have been a little bit smarter and just slowed my pace down to just somewhat of a crawl because I didn't need to be running like this in the race. But I kept it up, and eventually my heart rate got up there. At this point, my heart rate has been in the red for about 4 minutes. I'm actually doing well. It doesn't appear to be bothering me. I have puffing and puffing a little bit, and my legs are really tight. But coming to the finish line, I had enough for a sprint to finish it off. So kudos to that. It was a learning experience. I know I can go harder for longer with my heart rate up high. And with that, that's the end of my day. Have a good one.